I was listening to your podcast. It's called Unlocking Us. And I get the impression that from your perspective now, it's okay to feel sorry for ourselves. What do you mean by that?
I would frame it probably differently, which I would probably just say, I think it's okay to feel. I think we're experiencing grief, fear, anxiety, uncertainty, vulnerability. And the only way through that is to acknowledge it. If we spend all of our energy and effort trying to pretend like we're okay when we're not, that actually, it's counterintuitive, but that's actually the thing that keeps us from being okay. So I don't know if this is going to translate or not, because this is I'm a fifth generation Texan, so this is such a Texas saying. But when we were growing up, we were always told, don't piss and moan, like just complaining. And so my whole thinking now is, you can complain and you can feel, but just have some perspective. Like, one of the things I see happening here and probably all over the world is people are ranking their suffering. They're saying, I'm not allowed to be sad because I have a safe home and resources. And then people are saying, but, I'm not allowed to be sad because I'm sick, because I'm not dead. We keep thinking only the people who have it the worst are allowed to feel struggle. Not helpful. Everything we've learned shows us that comparative suffering helps no one, including those who are the most wounded. So I would say you don't have to compare, but you do need to maintain perspective. You have to maintain perspective. And I'll tell you where that's tough. So let me ask you this. It's interesting. Our kids in the US who are missing big ritual ceremonies, graduations from high school and college, are really struggling. Is that something you're experiencing as well?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So here's where it gets difficult, because if we can kind of agree that you have to have perspective. Perspective is a function of experience, right? The more experience we have in life, the more perspective we have. And so for kids, if they're missing their high school graduation or their college graduation or this event, they don't have, 40, 50 years of perspective to put that in place. Their lives are smaller and their experiences are limited. And it doesn't help us to look at our kids and say, hey, suck it up, get over it. You think you've got that bad? Let me tell you about what it was like. It's not helpful.
Their little crisis is big enough for them.
Yeah, our hearts are big enough to hold space for everyone's hurt. Empathy, compassion are not finite. It's not like pizza. It's not like, I'm going to give you a piece and now I only have 7 left. It doesn't work that way. The more we recognize hurt in other people and meet that with compassion, the more compassion we have.